Hello everyone, this is Chaos Christ. It's been a while since my last rant, but I've got another one for you. In the past, I've just bitched generally about the general downgrade in quality of things, video games, and just in general media. And yet again, that has been slapped in my face with the new series Teen Titans Go, and I'm gonna get into why. While the show itself isn't completely horrible, it is. And there's reasons. Where the show went wrong. Well, the show was doomed from the start, seemingly, because from the first... before the first episode was even made, they gave the control of this show to two guys who'd never really even seen much of the original. Which is just silly in my opinion. You'd think if they were making a show based on another show that they would at least be a little bit curious as to the show that came before, I mean, it's only common sense really. So they changed it from an action comedy drama cartoon to just straight up comedy. And I love comedy, and but that's not what Teen Titans was all about. So, I guess I'll first start off with how the characters are different. Because Teen Titans, the original, was a very character-driven show. And, the characters are beloved by many, myself included. So I'll start with Robin, who was originally, very determined, if not slightly obsessive, leader figure. Fairly mature for his age. And that was him in the original. And in Teen Titans Go, he's an immature, impulsive asshole. Essentially, I mean, douche is the word. Robin in Teen Titans Go is a douche. And that really sucks, because I thought Robin was really well done in the original Teen Titans. And they just butchered him completely in this show. Second, there's Cyborg, who is kind of similar to his original, but he's a lot more of a jerk. He's one of the characters they mutilated the least. Then there's Beast Boy, who also, like Cyborg, isn't mutilated too bad, except for one big thing that was not only a running joke throughout the entirety of the original series, but it's just a part of his character, is that they completely forgot that he's a vegetarian. He can turn into any animal, and in his words, why would he want to eat them? He's been most of them. Well, they seem to completely ignore or forget that, because in the very first episode he eats meat. No one says a word about it. Other than that, he still seems like, same happy-go-lucky type character, but he was kind of one of the ones that would have been hard to mess up, and even though they did anyway. Then there is Starfire, who was also, I guess, kind of similar, but at the same time, they made her kind of like more girly, and she was already girly enough. And it's just, well, I suppose they didn't do too horrible on her, but the two main characters they really ruined were Robin and Raven. And Raven was my favorite character by a lot. In the very first episode, she's watching an episode of Pretty Pretty Pegasus, which is obviously a knockoff of My Little Pony. And for her character, that doesn't really make much sense. She was never into anything like that. She was like me. She's into the darkness. Just how some people are. Their darkness appeals to them. It's just something that appeals to them. And usually those people aren't watching My Little Pony ripoffs. And then going further, the tone of the show is completely focused on comedy. So they basically dropped all the best parts of the original, the drama and the characterization, and And that really sucks, because that's what really had me coming back to the original. It wasn't the comedy. And in my opinion, the comedy in the original was just as good, if not better, in Go. So essentially, Go is a downgrade in every way. Like I said, yeah, the humor was just as good, if not better, than the original. But here's a kicker. To get some of the funniest jokes in Teen Titans Go, you will have to have seen the original and been a fan of the original. Which makes me wonder, you know, if people ended up watching episodes of Teen Titans before they aired the show, having realized people's reaction to what they had said. But the two best jokes in the first episodes that I've watched, and I watched all the way to current, were, despite it ruining her character, the fact that Raven was watching Pretty Pegasus, and that's just something Raven wouldn't do. So it was funny for that at the time, because, well, that's just not something Raven would do. And again, you would have had to have seen the original show to get why it's funny. And the second one is in a couple episodes down. It's the one where Trigon comes to visit Raven. And, you know, he gives all the Teen Titans powers and stuff, and what he gives Starfire is the ability to talk like a normal human teenage girl. And so she talks like a normal human teenage girl, which is the complete opposite of how she's always been, you know. She always talked very... Well, she was a foreigner, so she spoke in that way, you know. She spoke perfect English, but you could tell she was a foreigner, and she never used slang or anything like that. So it was funny to see her do that, but again, you would have had to have been a fan of the original show to get the joke. And if you were a fan of the original show, chances are that as you're watching Teen Titans Go, all you can think about is how, yeah, it's kind of funny, just like the original was, but it has nothing else that the original had. It has nothing that made the original great. And now I'm going to get into something I'm really going to gripe about. In my opinion, the original Teen Titans had one of the best animation styles I've ever seen. It perfectly blended anime and Western animation, and it was just, in my opinion, one of the best animation styles that I've seen to date. And what do they replace it with? A show that's animated in fucking Flash. And I just can't get over that. Like, if I was to give anyone an example of a downgrade in animation, it would be between these two shows. So not only does it lack all the elements except for the humor that made the good original show good, it lacks the wonderful animation. And this brings me to my next point. You can probably tell from my previous rants that I don't agree with the way the entertainment industry is going. Everything has just been downgraded, made to make a cheap buck. It's what's happened to the video game industry, and it's what's happening to TV. It's what happened to movies. It's what happened to music. Basically, all entertainment media is just crap. It's garbage now. And this show is a prime example. It's based on a show that was fantastic in pretty much every way that an animated show could be, and replaces it with shitty animation, jokes that would only that the best ones you would have had to see in the original, and just it's overall a massive, and I just can't stress this point enough, how big of a downgrade this show is to the original. It really irritates me, and the show's not horrible. It's got its funny moments. But again, the best jokes you have had to have seen the original series. So all the little kids that the show, I'm guessing, is made for aren't going to get those, and all of us old fucks who have seen the original are going to just be left wanting because, well, you might as well just watch the original because it's a million times better. Why bring it back? Because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, because there's a lot of people who really want Season 6 of Teen Titans, and I'm one of them. But Cartoon Network are filled with a bunch of idiotic assholes, so instead of, you know, wanting to devote the budget and time to creating a Season 6, they said, let's just give these two idiots, you know, some Flash animation software, and let them make a shitty version and cash in on it for like a season before it gets canceled. And if this show lasts longer than a season or two, I will be shocked. And if it does, it's only because it's so cheap to make and cheap to animate, because there's not hand-drawn frame in it. It's all animated in Flash, and animation is a dying art. It really is, along with video games and just everything. Art doesn't matter anymore. And art is, in my opinion, one of the most important things in life. And I just see all these things going crap, and I feel like I'm one of the few people who notices, one of the few people who seems to give a fuck, as video games and TV and everything that, you know, I grew up on when it was good just is replaced with either a mediocre version of the original or something worse. So yeah, that was my rant on Teen Titans Go. As you can tell, I'm a fan of the original series. The new show is okay, but it's just a downgrade in every single way to the original. And the animation is just an insult to my intelligence, quite frankly. I just can't get over it. Like, I really love the animation in the original show. So much. And I really hate Flash animation. So much. So it was an even bigger slap in the face to me for that reason, even if the show was really good. You know, and if it was, I would say so, but yeah, the whole time I just think, man, it's like they went from an Xbox 360 game, which was the original one, graphics-wise, and then downgraded it to a Super Nintendo game. That's the equivalent in my mind with the animation. So, yeah, I can only gripe about the animation for so long. Anyway, yeah, that was my opinion, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. As per usual, my rants are fairly negative, but, you know, I would just like to find something, well, worth ranting about that was good. But the problem is there is nothing good really anymore. So what am I left to do is bitch. That's all I can do is bitch. And for years I've been bitching. But it's only got worse. And it won't get any better. And I just fear that someday, and that day is here pretty much already, that people will grow up, kids will grow up, and they won't know the true joy of quality entertainment, quality video games, quality TV shows, ones that actually had character and made you think, ones that were unique. Yeah. So anyway, it's been Chaos Christ. Peace out, and fuck off.